Hey, welcome back to another junior number video. Right, we're going to talk about this thing called recurring decimals in this video. A little bit tricky idea. Recurring decimals are decimals that have a pattern and the decimal places go on forever. Right, straight into example 1. Let's look at the fraction 1 over 3. Now we know the fraction line means to divide. So let's grab my calculator and go 1 divided by 3. That gives me a decimal, 0.3333333333333. Boy, lots of threes. Well, actually the threes go on forever, but your calculator can't write them going on forever, so the calculator decides to stop after a little while and just write down that. Now, you need to be able to write it in a mathematical way called recurring notation. And here's what you need to be able to do. You need to say, well, the threes go on forever. It's just a pattern of 3, 3, 3. So I'm going to write it as 0.3, and I'm going to put a dot above the 3. And that tells people that that 3 goes on forever. There is another way to do it, and it's not a dot, it's a line. And I don't care which way you do it. People in New Zealand, people around the world, they do it both different ways. You can do one or the other. So it is 0.3 with a dot above the 3, or 0.3 with a line above the 3. If you write 0.3 and then 3 with a dot above a second 3, that's not okay. You must identify that as soon as the 3 recurs, you put a dot above the first 3. So people who write 0.33 with a dot or 0.333 with a dot above that, you're not going to get awarded marks for that. All right, here's number 2, 2/3. So let's grab my calculator. You know that fraction means top number divided by bottom number. So 2 divided by 3 gives me 0.66666666666. Now we've got to be a bit careful here because at the end of the calculator there's a 7. Now what the heck's going on? In a video coming up shortly, we're going to chat about rounding. I'll tell you what the calculator has done. Calculator's decided to stop after a little while, right? Can't write down all the 6s. It's decided to stop. And what it's done is it's had a peek at the digit that's not on the screen, and it's a 6. If it's 5 or greater, it's going to round it up. So what it's done is it's round up that 6 there to a 7. Now you need to be a bit clever and realize it's not a 7. It's 6666666 going on forever. It's a recurring decimal. So as soon as you've figured out that that's a recurring decimal, please write it in the correct notation of 0.6 with a dot above the 6 or 0.6 with a line above the 6. All right, what about 3/11? So grab your calculator and go 3 divided by 11, and your calculator turns it into a decimal, 0.272727272727. That's a recurring decimal. Those 27 patterns go on forever. So now we've got 2 numbers repeating. So what are we going to do here? We're going to write it as 0.27 with the dot above the 2 and the 7, or better, 0.27 with a line above both. And that tells somebody that the 27 repeats itself forever. All right, take this number, 19 divided by 12. Let's get my calculator. 19 divided by 12 gives me this decimal, 1.583333333333. It's only the 3 that's recurring or repeats. So here's how we're going to write it in recurring decimal notation. We're going to write 1.58. Then we're going to put 3 down, just the first 3, and we're going to put a dot above the 3, which tells us it's only the 3 that recurs. Or we could have put a line above the 3. Right, final example, 4 divided by 7 gives us this, 0.5714285714. So there's quite a few numbers that repeat. Once you identify them all, either put a dot above the first number and a dot above the last number, or better yet, put a line above all the numbers that repeat. That tells us that that pattern of numbers repeats over and over again. You could put a dot above all numbers if you really choose to. Right, that's recurring decimal notation. Thanks for watching.